Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today, we're here with another fantastic saint, and I believe this is the first one.
Yes, this is the first one. We remembered that Hispanic Heritage Month starts in the middle of a month.
We repeated it to ourselves for months, so yay!
We set reminders on our calendars.
Yeah, I was like, what's this thing for today? Oh, yeah.
So for all those of you who enjoyed our African American Heritage Month
And Women's History Month.
Women's History Month and Asian and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, we are now doing Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're kicking it off with one of the most well-known ones, in my opinion.
Well, at least his vision is one of the most well-known in the Americas.
Yes.
Yeah, because, it's important to note, San Juan Diego himself was not, Hispanic. He was completely, just native.
Yes, he was 100%
Native North American.
Yes. However, I cannot find a Native American History Month. Mm-hmm. And it's him. It's a couple of ones that we've already mentioned.
Yeah,
before.
Nicholas Black Elk.
Yes.
Yeah,
there was no España in his.
When he died, it was New Spain that he was under.
Absolutely, and he is in many ways responsible. God did it through him, creating a Hispanic culture by revealing to the world Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yes. So. Let's start off with the small stuff, with the simple stuff, right at the beginning. Very good place to start, from what I understand. Who is San Juan Diego?
Well, for starters, he was born with a name that I'm not going to attempt to translate, but it meant the eagle who speaks in the local dialect that was based off of Aztec, because he was born in what was the Aztec Empire in 1474. And then he died in 1548, around 73, 74,
That's a fairly good lifespan for the time.
What was then Mexico City, New Spain.
See.
He was beatified in 1990 and canonized in 22. And both of those took place at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City.
That's 2002. So 2002. Just...
Yeah.
22 hasn't happened yet.
He'll be canonized next year.
His feast
on
day...
my birthday.
Yes, he was canonized on the 31st of July. His feast day is December 9th. And he is the patron of the native people of the Americas.
Because he is one.
Yes.
Yeah.
His family was of a lower class. They were poor, but they weren't absolutely destitute poor. Mm-hmm. We know very little about his family. We think his parents might have died when he was fairly young because he appeared to be being raised by an uncle.
Yeah, that's what I knew of his family. He has an uncle.
Yes. We do know that he had a wife named Maria Lucia, or at least her, Christianized name was that.
Yeah.
And most accounts say that they were some of the first people that were baptized after Franciscan missionaries appeared, and they arrived in Mexico in 1524. Some sources say that she died before he had the vision. Some say after. Usually it's about a year or two in either direction.
So right around.
Yes. He possibly also had a son who might have been from an earlier marriage where that wife also passed away. Again, the records on that are kind of scant, so we can't say 100% for sure.
Sure.
So he was 50 years old, nearly 50 years old when he got baptized? Mm-hmm. Wow.
But yes, one thing we know is he had at least one wife, and he had an uncle who was named Juan Bernardo, at least his Christianized name.
Yeah. We are not even going to attempt to pronounce his native name because we would all butcher it horribly. So it is out of respect and a desire not to embarrass ourselves that we're just going to call him San Juan Diego.
Yeah, occasionally we've tried names because we figured we can probably get 65-70% good, and somebody will go and tell us what we did wrong. But with a name like this, I'm fairly certain we will actually score under 10% right. And if anybody actually knows how to pronounce it, they will tell us that everything that we said was wrong.
Well, the god Quetzalcoatl.
We only know that from school.
I only know that because I've heard it. Looking at the word, I have no idea how you get Quetzalcoatl out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like it's from a language that we know the base, or even like when I think for Nicholas Black Elk, we did do some of his native things because it was tribes that some of them were near our area, so we've heard terms before and had a rough idea of how to,
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, San Juan Diego.
Yes. He had another name that looks amazing. There are so many, marks over vowels and stuff.
Yes, there are a lot of diacritics and a lot of vowels. I think it might actually be close to a vowel for every consonant there almost.
Well, again, the eagle who speaks. Very impressive.
Yes.
And given how it was, a pictorial language, probably really beautiful looking.
I'm sure.
But anyway. He is, of course, known for one thing, for the most part, and that is Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Hey! Ba-ba-da-da.
Yes, if you don't know what Our Lady of Guadalupe looks like, you can look here, you can look online.
And we have a handy visual aid.
It's here somewhere. You can see this. You could look on various pickup trucks throughout the town. Tattoos of people. It's a very popular.
Many decorative candles.
I'll just hold this like this.
Okay.
Gives me something to do.
It's one of the most popular images. So I'm going to say the odds are there's one in a Catholic church near you.
Mm-hmm. I assume the Our Lady of Guadalupe people got there before the Divine Mercy people did.
Well, again, that's why the Divine Mercy images are stuck here and there, because they had to just find whatever room left.
I'm just saying, there's one in our church, and our church is fairly white bread.
But we're miles from a church that literally is named Our Lady of Guadalupe.
But used to support an orphanage in Mexico.
Ah.
But anyway, his first vision of Our Lady was on his way to Mass on a path that he was known for traveling. After
good fellow on his way to Mass.
Yes, after the missionaries arrived, he tried to go as much as possible to, have religion classes and studying and going to Mass and such.
Going to Mass as often as you can. I wonder where I've heard that one before. I don't know. So she appeared on a hill that had significance for people that were native of the area, wearing clothes that are also significant, that sometime during this month, I feel we're going to do an episode where we just explain the significance of it.
Sounds right.
Because
Sounds good.
About 4 years ago, Mike did one where he went through the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe, so we'll, ding it up here. Or, you could be like pretty much all other older millennials and just watch a dog in a costume to explain the story, because that's how I learned about Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Whatever teaches you.
Wishbone. That and my great aunt, who told it as a fun story about the native people against the Spanish, because she was a nun and therefore
She favored the little guy. Well, and of course the church herself has pointed out that Our Lady of Guadalupe is the perfect example of appropriate enculturation. And as a result, all of Mexico was converted.
Well, at least, a very large percent.
A huge percentage of the population. As opposed to before that, it was basically Juan Diego and his uncle.
So anyways,
they had no other converts.
So anyways.
There was like a dozen converts. Come on.
He's on his way to Mass.
He sees this vision of a beautiful lady. She says, I want a church built here.
And he says, sure, I'll get right on that.
So he goes to the bishop, who, of course, makes him wait forever, and then says, I'm going to need more evidence than this just to randomly build a church. I mean, again, as we discussed, there's 12 converts.
Well, we're going to say the bishop was simply being prudent. Because if one of your flock comes to you and says that Our Lady said to build a church here, if she did, and you need more proof, God will provide it.
Plus, I mean, we've dealt with, church people. The one who says Our Lady says to do this is usually the wackiest idea.
And, there are people who, and this is very, very naughty, there are people who speak in the name of Our Lady without being asked. That's a no-no. So,
he then had 2 more visions, one which resulted in multiple miracles that had the bishop agree that this clearly was from God, and they built the church there. After which, he lived at a hermitage that was at the foot of the hill where the church was built, and was possibly a catechist. Like we've discussed numerous other times, where it's not just the guy who teaches Sunday school, but an actual, not official, not ordained, but, educated and given,
Authorized.
Yes, authorization and such.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, God chose to speak to him through our mother. So, yeah, this seems like a guy who probably knows the faith.
Yes.
Or at least was open and receptive.
There you go. And that's the key. That's how you be Marian. You just be open and receptive.
Well, that's really how you be good at a lot of things in Christianity. Is you don't have to be
no, all of it. Not most things, everything.
Well, to some extent.
There are things which having some book smarts might make you better at.
But you got to be receptive to that.
Yes, and he also was one of those saints that you can look at a story and go, how human and normal he was with the second vision, where he's like, I had to go see a doctor, so I'm going to skip this hill
well,
where the vision occurs.
He was intentionally avoiding mom. Listen, my uncle is sick. I got to get to him. I don't have time for this.
He was ducking Mary.
Of course, how did that work out for him?
Not so well.
Well, I mean, his uncle was instantaneously healed, so there's that.
How good does it work? How does it good work?
I mean, this was, 1500s medicine.
How did it work out according to his plan?
But how well does it work for anybody who's trying to duck their mother? Usually not all that good. Mom knows where to find you.
All right, so
I'm going to put this down because my arms are getting tired.
So, while Our Lady of Guadalupe was officially...
Again, you've got Our Lady of Guadalupe on your shirt, so you're still holding it up.
Was officially approved at various levels starting in 1555, so mere few years after the event took place.
Yeah, that's only 24 years after it appeared.
His cause for canonization really started up on the 500th anniversary of when we think he was born. Mm-hmm. He was declared venerable in 1987, and afterwards every single bishop in Mexico petitioned for his cause. So he was beatified without a miracle because there is a way that essentially people have been believing that he's a saint for 500 years, and we've got no sign from heaven saying, no, that's not true. So, so you can get a beatification without a miracle. But the miracle for sainthood is another one of those ones. Sometimes it's just, you look it up and it's like, someone was healed because they prayed for this person's intercession. But no, this is one of those crazy ones where it's like, you could get someone who doesn't believe and be like, that is highly improbable to happen.
Explain this.
Well, I mean, there's that one.
All right. So, like I said before, he was beatified in 1990 on May 6th was the exact date.
By acclamation.
Well,
basically, everybody went and said, no.
Yes. You didn't need the miracle. That was over in.
His cult was confirmed.
The miracle started on May 3rd of that year. And the height of it happened to take place the same day of the beatification.
Heaven knows. Heaven knows what we're up to down here.
A man fell 10 meters headfirst onto cement.
That's over 30 feet.
Yes.
It's thought he probably was trying to kill himself, but it also might have been the fact that he was on a lot of drugs, and so he might not have known what he was doing. But in either case, he did it right in front of his mother, who immediately saw it and asked Juan Diego for help. So this is a fall that probably should have killed him.
Not more than 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes. He didn't die, as you would probably expect. He was in a coma until the day of the beatification, when he woke up and was able to walk out of the hospital a week later.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's the thing that just doesn't happen. I mean, I've known some people who've taken some pretty nasty falls onto concrete, and
if you're going to have a fall like that, either it's the freak one where you dust off and go, what happened, or you're dead.
Well, again,
there's very rarely an in-between.
Fell 30 feet, was in a coma for 3 days, woke up on the day of the beatification, and
7 days later he walked out of the hospital.
Yeah. Like Nate, I know a guy who suffered a severe closed head injury.
After falling for a significant height onto concrete.
It was months and months before he was out of the hospital, and years before he could properly walk again.
Yeah.
Yes, and still it's not back to before.
Yeah. We'll never be.
We'll never be back to before.
Well, at the second coming.
This side of the veil will not be.
Yes.
Yes.
Fair.
That's a pretty impressive miracle.
That is.
So in 2002, he was canonized. I believe he was canonized in Mexico City?
Yes, both took place in Mexico City at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Which we must remind everyone is the single most popular Catholic pilgrimage site in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair.
Anyway, we were off talking
But we
about
digress.
Juan Diego.
But I would rather live out in the country.
That guy you always see pictured in the scenes of Our Lady of Guadalupe and go, who's that guy?
Oh, it's that guy. You know that guy.
Right.
And, of course, his feast day, December 9th, is 3 days before Our Lady's feast day.
At least Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's what I mean.
It's the day after of the
It's the
Immaculate
day after her
Conception.
Immaculate Conception. Again, how many Marian feast days are there in the Catholic Church?
All of them.
We have a lot. We love Mom.
Suddenly we're going to get an Orthodox writer. We have this weird feast day for Mary you don't have.
We have her Dormition. Oh, we've got that under a different name.
Darn it.
Ah!
Anyway, as this is the first saint for this month, if you know any saints that are of Hispanic heritage or lived in the area that is now considered, where Hispanic people live, as, again, he was Native American, but it was when Spain showed up. So it was right at the very beginning of the creation of this culture.
The Western Hemisphere, basically south of the Rio Grande.
Leave it below, and maybe we'll do it as one of our future saints for this series.
Because we've got people lined up, but we're always open to more. Especially if we've got a really good story.
And while you're down there leaving your comment, make sure to go and click that like button, because we're likable We're likable folks. Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you get notified when our next episode comes out. And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
And share that love.